Hello, here's Kramer's Corner with daily technical update on FX, yields, and crypto. And if you are following me on Substack, Kramer's Corner on Substack, you would have received an update yesterday afternoon on the FX market after following the intervention from the Japanese National Bank, Bank of Japan. It is not out on all medias, but it was out on Substack, and all my followers did receive that one. I could see what I'm also talking about today. So let's get cracking here. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. And we'll start with euro dollar that yesterday bounced a little bit, but basically it's just range bound. We're still in this corrective mode here a little bit. Setting back here this early morning, still positive sentiment on the RSI, but look at this. We have the 55 moving average lower, the 100 virtual flat, the 200 the same. So we are stuck in this range here within the cloud. So what will it be? Will it be to the upside or to the downside? I still favor the upside, but I want proof, so I'm not quite sure. 116.30 down here, key support. We can see here on the weekly, and I've added the weekly chart on the right side, and I will do that throughout the session here for FX market. We see your dollar is up above this rising trend line. I kept it here, then it actually went below and then bounced back, and the really key here is 114, and then we can see, well, we are technically in a bit of a range bound, but with a bullish undertone above the cloud, above 55 moving average, still positive sentiment on the RSI. So let's see here the next few weeks how it will develop. We had sterling dollar taking out the little resistance there in these peaks here, trading around 136, and now I can remove this one. It bounced from the 38.2 retracement and is still in a bullish trend and is likely to push higher here in the coming days and weeks. I believe we could see it up to 137. We can see here on the weekly it's above the cloud, above 55 weekly moving average, but it could set back a little bit given the fact that we have the 55 moving average still dragging lower, but I think it will turn around eventually. Positive sentiment on daily and weekly, supporting higher levels also on the medium term. Euro sterling, on the other hand, that took out the support here at 86.35 yesterday, is likely to push lower towards the 86 support level. That's the key interest. I think despite the little bounce we see here this morning, I still believe we'll see it lower. We are below the cloud. All moving averages declining, 55 especially here. Didn't even get up above the 100, so expect lower levels on euro sterling in the coming weeks. And we can see it here also in the weekly. Actually, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and possibly a new lower low in the coming weeks also. And then yen pairs. Yen pairs, let's zoom in there. We had this massive sell-off after it actually got above 160 level, and we talked about it, and it seemed like it would have clear blue skies higher, but then there were first rumors, or I think the Bank of Japan intervened in the market, smashing the dollar yen lower and took out several support levels, but it stopped at this one down here at 155.55 before bouncing strongly. Didn't close above this little 156.80 pivot point here. So negative sentiment now on the RSI, but expect a bounce, and I think we will test the resistance there at 157.50 shortly. Which is also the 38.2 retracement of this massive move here yesterday. If it crawls back above that, and especially back above the cloud again here and above the 55 moving average, then we could suddenly see dollar yen crawling back towards 160 again. So really an interesting development here. On the longer term, medium longer term, we're still in a bullish trend, as you can see. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and maybe now a higher low. So let's see how that will develop in the coming weeks. Euro yen, more or less same picture. Smash down here, dip below the minor support 182.55 area here. almost down to these areas down here, and before a strong bounce, and it's already trading about around the 38.2 retracement there at 184.40, back below, above the cloud, back above this rising trend line here, could bounce further throughout the day towards the weekend. 185 it could be reached, but let's see. But if it slides back and moves back below the cloud here, then we can have another push lower. But as we can see here, also on the weekly, still bullish trend. It is still intact. But there's massive divergence on the RSI. As you can see, the RSI values are declining, market moved higher. So we are in exhaustion mode a little bit, quite a bit actually. And here on the daily, weekly, divergence on the RSI. But let's see, if it takes out the lows from today, then I think we could see it sliding back here below the cloud again. Aussie yen spiked also lower to the upper part of the cloud, just above support at 111.18 there, and then bounced strongly and is now, and this is what I'm going to do, I will remove this one and then measure this distance here, and we already taking back 50%, more than half of this downwards move there, and strong bounce, and I think we will bounce further here throughout the day. If it starts moving back above 114, well, then it could, well, I think this will be the picture, a little bit higher here towards the end of the weekend, a little bit of setback, and then the next move up to the 114. However, if it takes out the lows from today, then we can see another downwards press. But also here, look at this, it's just moving higher and higher, almost without correction. There are some up here, and there is massive divergence, as you can see, RSI values declining. So we are also in exhaustion mode there. So let's see here the next few days. Be careful, maybe just trade, if you're trading it, just have your stops ready. Here sterling, yen, also massive move and bounce. Currently testing the resistance there at 213.90, almost bounced 61.8 retracement there to 214.25, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that also throughout the day. So still positive sentiment on the RSI, but as we can see, there is divergence, but a strong bounce still above the cloud. And here on the weekly, you can see still bullish trend. But this level here, I think we talked about it for some time ago, but I think it's prudent to have a little bit of recap here when we are in for, we started a new day in March, we ended the week and everything, and this goes all the way back to the levels here during the financial crisis there, the credit crunch there. On the Aussie dollar, well, a strong move yesterday from the support here just around 71, and I think we will see it crawling higher in the coming days and weeks. As we can see here also in the week, we are still in a bullish trend with higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs here. There is divergence on the RSI, but the uptrend is fairly strong. And then let me just add this little horizontal line there. But if it takes out the 71 level, really key, as we can see, it's been just above here a couple of times. We could see a dip down to the 70-60, possibly lower if it takes out that, but I don't think so. I think we will see a push higher above 72.20, and if it does, then we are looking at 73 level. Dollar Canada pushing lower, couldn't get up here, 1, 2, 3 times, just above 137, and knocked back down, and now downtrend has resumed after this correction there, a little correction, and there is now room down to 135.25, possibly even lower. But look at this, how important these levels are down here on the weekly. But we are in a bearish trend, negative sentiment on both time horizon or charts. Also some move in the EURUSD, but in the bigger picture, slightly bigger picture, still range bound here. Tested the support down here at 91.50, and we have the strong resistance up to 92.65. But if we're looking at a bigger picture, we are actually just in a big downtrend here, below the longer term falling trend line, below the 55 moving average, below the 100 and so on, and it is just a lower high there for now at least. And if it takes out the 91.25 down here, the support here, then the downtrend is back in session and could push lower towards 90 again. So keep an eye on that. But the 55 is still giving it some support there. But the 91 2025 is really key to the downside. Dollar Swiss, well, it's back below the cloud yesterday. Now it's in it. Still negative sentiment on the RSI. So it is also in a downtrend. You can see it actually touching the 786 retracement there, just above 78. If it takes out the lows here from overnight, well, then expect a push down to 77.50. Support quite possibly lower. We can also see we are in a bearish trend there on the weekly. The unless it can turn around and take out the peaks here at 79.25, but then we have the 200 moving average giving it some resistance also. The dollar index, it couldn't get into the this gap area and got rejected. Didn't touch the 99. It was 98, 97. So then it got hit by selling pressure, trading around the 61.8 retracement there, just in the lower part of the cloud. I think it will push lower. We have negative sentiment on the RSI, and we could see a push lower here in the coming days and weeks. And looking at the weekly, we can see how important these levels up here at around 100 spot 35. We talked about it some time ago when we were trading up there. Got rejected. We are back below this trend line like here. I keep it sometimes just to see, give it a little bit of guidance. We are below the cloud on the weekly still, and negative sentiment never got back above 60 threshold. So there's likely lower levels for the dollar index. On the treasury yields, just below the 786 retracement of this correction there. We are in a now bullish trend, positive sentiment on the RSI. I think we will see the 480, 448, 449 here being tested, 450 in the coming weeks. Bullish trend also on the weekly, as we can see, but the bigger picture, it is forming a bit of a triangle-like pattern here on the weekly that it needs to break out of, and unfortunately I do believe we'll see breakout to the upper side. Moving on to the European yields, the EU 10-year got rejected there yesterday at 3.13, just peeped a little bit above, and then it got beaten lower after in the afternoon. So we have really strong resistance there around 3.13 that should be observed. I think we could set it back a little bit. It seems like it hasn't opened today. Maybe there's a bank holiday. It is the 1st of May, so the Workers' International Day. So expect a little bit of a setback further, possibly. But if it takes out these two peaks there, well, then we're looking at 3.21, 3.27. UK 10-year, just below the 5.10, 5.12 here. Key strong resistance for push higher. Expect a little bit of a setback, and if you are really trading this, then you can also add Fibonacci to the other side, or to this one here, and then you have really a stronger Fibonacci cluster here, just around 4.94. The Japanese 10-year, a little bit of setback here today, but still in a bullish trend, and is likely to push higher in the coming days or weeks. We have positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. Bitcoin has bounced a little bit, still above the key support there, just around 73,770. Key strong resistance just around the 80,000. Ethereum, that actually took out that lows there, but basically it's still in a bullish trend, just a little bit sideways at the moment. All right, that's all for today on the FX market and the interest and the yields and crypto market. Have a nice weekend and keep charting out there.